Hey everyone, welcome back to DIY Beauty on Purpose. My name is Leonette and I'm so excited that you are here with me today. This episode is filled with 5 spring DIYs you are going to love. Let's get started. Alright, so for this spring DIY, I'm going to take this cutting board. It's like a decorative one that I got at Target Dollar Spot. On one side, it had those beautiful little flowers that were kind of heat burned on them, and I didn't want to mess with them. So we are going to work on the back side. I removed the sticker, sanded it down, dusted it really well because I want this board to be double-sided. So we're going to work on one side, but we're going to leave the back side as is so that we can use it 2 ways. After everything was sanded down and smooth and dust free, I am going to dry brush heavily the one side we're going to work on. Dry brushing simply means to put a little bit of paint on the brush and just swipe it on. I did it pretty heavily on this side and waited for it to be fully dry. I am now going to use this beautiful flower mesh reusable stencil from a Maker Studio, and I am just going to place it right on top. This mesh stencil is stunning, and I do have a link down below in the description box where you can find this and many other stencils. I'm going to use a Maker Studios gel art ink and a squeegee, and I'm just going to start applying the ink right on it and then reveal the beautiful stenciling as I pull the stencil away. Isn't it beautiful? I am going to heavily distress it though because I want this board to have a very vintage kind of farmhouse look. So I am going to heavily distress everything now just to leave it as a detail. I want this board to look like it's been around for a while. I'm going to dust it really well, and then I'm going to take a piece of drop cloth that I've had for a while. I'm just going to cut a piece that's going to be enough for what I need. I'm going to flip it over, and with a pencil I'm going to trace the bottom of the board. This will give me a guide of where to cut. Now when I cut, I am going to cut about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little less, under the line. So I want the circle to be smaller than the board. I did fold it later and cut it a little bit more because I wanted to see about 1/4 of an inch on the bottom of the board. I am going to apply it simply by applying some hot glue and then setting the cloth on the bottom of the board. I noticed that some paint got on the back of the board because I wanted to leave it like this. I just sanded it down very lightly to remove the paint, and that way nobody would ever know. So I'm going to take this faux boxwood that I do get on Amazon and I do have on my Amazon store. So check it out. I have my Amazon store. I have my favorite supplies there. So it is linked down below. Make sure you check it out. So I'm just going to place these faux boxwood right in there, and then this pink and white flower that I've had for a long time. It was left over on a pick. I'm just going to place it towards the right side, and that's it. This board is beautiful. I love how spring it is. I love that you can actually remove the florals and make it feasible for any season. I think it's stunning, and of course the back side was left as is, and I love the fact that it's two-sided. For this next spring DIY, we're going to start with this little crate that I got at Target Dollar Spot. It was $5 as well. And what I'm going to first do is stain the sides using Rust-Oleum chalked glaze in their brown tone. And it's water-based. It doesn't have a strong scent, so it's a really good alternative for staining. I'm just going to stain both sides and then let it dry. Now on the front, on the plank side as well as the inside, I'm going to dry brush again some Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, and it's going to be again heavily dry brushed. Again, it's because I'm looking for a more farmhouse vintage look, so that's why I'm doing it this way. But by all means, you can stain the whole thing, you can use other colors, and you can paint it as you please. This is just what I decided to do. Like I said, I'm going to do the inside as well. Once I was done painting, I'm going to use another one of A Maker Studios mesh reusable stencil. This one's of a vintage looking bunny, which I love. It's one of their newer ones as well, and it is also linked down below. Make sure you check it out. It is awesome. I squeegeed the gel ink and look how beautiful it looks. I did the same thing on the other side. Now taking my sanding block, I'm just going to lightly sand the inside and just to kind of smooth everything out. And then with using my palm sander, I am going to heavily distress the front and the back. And as you can see, I don't know if you can tell, I'm not putting a lot of pressure. I'm starting very light just to kind of see what I want and then putting pressure as needed. Again, I want the stencil and the crate to just look like they've been around for a very long time. I'm going to wipe everything down and make sure it is completely dust free. And then I'm going to start applying some nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to hot glue one end and I'm just going to roll it around in the handle, and that way it's just going to look nice and complete. I then hot glue the end as well to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to take a block of floral foam from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to cut it in half long ways. And then I'm going to put a lot of hot glue on the bottom of the crate and then place the foam right in there so it doesn't go anywhere. I am then going to start adding some florals. I am also going to add some of that faux boxwood that is on my Amazon store. I'm going to cut all the little branches off of toothpicks, and then I am going to start putting some moss on the bottom of the crate. This is just to cover that foam just a little bit so you do not see it, and then start sticking all the picks inside the crate. And to finish it off, I'm going to add some of these vibrant yellow picks from Dollar Tree, just sparingly all around. And that's it for this one. Oh, this one's one of my favorite. It's so hard to choose, but look how beautiful this looks. It looks like it's been like this for years and years, and it's just so vibrant, beautiful. For the next spring DIY, I'm going to take this polyester fabric that I have left over from another project. I got the fabric on Amazon. I don't have it on my Amazon store, but if you simply just search for fabric, they sell it by the yard and you can find any design, any color. I cut out a piece that is 12 inches wide and then I folded it and cut it again 12 inches long. I'm going to use some fabric tape that is basically just to create some seam. Now you can certainly sew the pillow. We're going to create a small spring pillow. You can sew it, but I'd rather just use either hot glue or this tape that I got on Amazon and I do have on my Amazon store. I'm just going to place it on one end of the seams and just then start ironing it. I am using my little mini iron press, but you can certainly use an iron at home. You do not need to have any heat presses. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side and cut out a piece that is long enough, place it where it needs to be, and then iron it. Now for the last piece that is open, now because it's going to be a pillow, we want to stuff it with some pillow stuffing. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do about 2/3 of it. But honestly, I went a little too far and I did not leave enough room. I think I left like 2 inches open and I regretted it. You're going to see it here in a minute. So same thing, I placed it, ironed it, and I'm going to flip it inside out, and it took me a while because this tiny hole that I left was too small. And I'm going to make sure that all the corners and all the edges are pulled out as much as possible. And then I'm going to iron everything out and flatten the edges using my larger heat press. But again, if you do not have a heat press, you can certainly use an iron and that should work perfectly well. I'm now going to put some parchment paper underneath the fabric, and then I'm going to take a design that I created myself. This is a flowers appear on earth, and it's a scripture from Songs of Songs, and I'm just going to cut off the X's. Now I printed it with sublimation ink and sublimation paper, so I made sure that I did it flipped horizontally so that when I iron it on the piece, it's going to then appear as it should. So I'm going to cut off the excess paper. Now I do have this design available temporarily on my Etsy shop. So if you want to use this design and you want to try sublimation, I am going to have it only for a couple of weeks. So take advantage. Make sure that you go on my Etsy shop. Down below it is linked. and check it out and purchase it. And again, you can apply it using parchment paper and your own iron. Look how beautiful and vibrant this design turned out. I love it. So I removed the parchment paper and everything from it, let it cool down, and I'm going to add some pillow stuffing. And as I mentioned, I left the hole too small. So it gave me a hard time, but I was able to get enough stuffing there to make sure it looks like a pillow. Now I'm going to seal that little hole using more of that fabric tape, and basically it's just cutting one that fits inside, fitting it nicely inside, and then ironing it out. And we are just about done with this cute little spring pillow. I love the way it turned out. It's so stinking cute. Again, don't forget that the design is in my Etsy shop, so check it out. Friends, I want to let you know that this video is in collaboration with my friends Lisa from Dollar Mom and Lisa from Faith Chic 777 DIY by Design. They are so talented, such beautiful persons. I love them. So we came together to bring you a ton of spring inspiration. So I am going to have both of their channels in the description box. Make sure you check them out before you go. I know you're going to love what they have for you today. Again, those two links are going to be linked down below. For the next spring DIY, I'm going to take some fabric that I had left over. It has those vibrant yellows that I love, and gray and tanned. And I'm going to cut out in strips of 2 inches wide. And then I'm going to take one of these Dollar Tree wire wreath forms. This is the smaller version that they have. And I'm going to start wrapping this fabric all around until the entire thing is covered. And then it did have a lot of frays, so I'm just going to clean it up and cut those off to make sure it looks clean and neat. Then I'm going to take some leftover crafting chicken wire, and I am going to place it right underneath the wreath form, and then I'm going to cut the excess off using my wire cutters. I am then going to apply a lot of hot glue to the back of the wreath form and press the chicken wire right on top. And I'm going to add even more hot glue on top of it, and then using a silicone brush, I'm just going to press it down. I just want to make sure that the chicken wire is not going to come off. And now using my wire cutters, once again, I'm just going to trim off any excess and just clean it up and making sure that it looks neat. And now I am going to add some nautical rope so that we can hang it. And I'm just going to apply it towards the side and let it loop on the top. And that way it's just going to have a very unique look to it. Now I'm going to add some of these florals from the Dollar Tree. They're vibrant yellow flowers. They're beautiful. I'm so into this bright yellow color for the spring and summer. So I'm just going to cut off some of the branches off of the pig. And then I'm just going to start just threading it through the chicken wire. And that's it. I think this one turned out so beautiful. It is so different. And I can see this one actually being on a larger wreath form. And I think it will look stunning. For this next spring DIY, I'm going to take this wooden box from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to cross lines on the bottom of it from corner to corner, creating an X. And then right where those lines meet, it's going to be my center, and I'm going to drill a small hole. Then I'm going to take this dowel from Walmart, but you can find dowels at Dollar Tree as well if you'd like. And I'm going to carefully drill a hole on one end. This is because we are going to connect the box and the dowel using a screw, and I want to make sure that both of them are not going to crack on me. So pre-drilling holes is what you want to do. So now I'm going to place it very carefully. You're going to see the box spinning here, but eventually it's going to stop and it's going to tighten. What we are making today is a very unique topiary for spring and summer. So once the box was tightened, I am going to add a lot of hot glue and some more of floral foam from the Dollar Tree. And that way we have a place to put our flowers. I am then going to take a medium-sized terracotta pot from Dollar Tree and I'm going to add some floral foam to the inside of it. And then I'm going to start painting the box. I'm just going to give it a quick one coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And I am going to paint the sides as well as the bottom of the box. I am then going to press the dowel inside the terracotta pot right through the foam. And then it's time to start adding some moss to the bottom and the top. This is just to hide, once again, the foam. And we're going to do that on top and bottom. And then we're going to keep the florals very simple. I'm actually just going to add a sunflower to the bottom and a sunflower to the top. And I know it sounds crazy, but I love simplicity. So what I'm going to do is one sunflower is going to be towards the left. And then the one on top is going to be towards the right. And it's going to even each other out and just kind of balance each other. But the top, I am going to add some leftover greenery that I had from other pigs that I never used, hot gluing them in place, and that's it for this one. I think this is a stunner. I love how springy and summery it looks. It is so simple, but so grand. I think it's beautiful. You're going to have to let me know which one is your favorite. If I had to pick, I say I like the crate the best, but it's so hard to choose. I love them all, but let me know which one is your favorite. If you are visiting for the first time, or if you are coming from the collaboration from the other two channels, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope it inspires you to create your own DIYs, and I hope you consider joining our YouTube family. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. As always, I'm going to have another video and a playlist here with tons more of inspiration for you. Don't forget to check out the other two channels in the collaboration down below so that you can visit them. And don't forget to visit my Etsy shop and Amazon store. All information is down below. Check it out. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.